Blog Talk Radio.
Who are the unstoppable ones?
Is it just that they can do it and I can't?
Who are the unstoppable ones?
Is it just that they can do it and I can't? Mission Unstoppable. Mission Unstoppable.
The unstoppable ones.
You did say unstoppable, right? You did say unstoppable, right? What is it they know that I don't? Coach Frankie Picasso takes you on Mission Unstoppable.
Who are the unstoppable ones?
Can anyone stop these people?
Wow, I doubt it. Well, good evening. I am the unstoppable Frankie Picasso, and you are about to go on another Mission Unstoppable. Tonight we are going undercover to learn how talent, determination, and purpose collide to inspire the world and bring one singer in touch with his Midas touch. My guest this evening is talented singer-songwriter. He might say a humble folk singer who is, in my opinion, also a superhero on the side. He probably doesn't see himself this way, a man of special powers, but he is a champion for those who don't believe in what's possible. Theodore Reschke, great American poet, said, "What we need is more people who specialize in the impossible." And I'm happy to state that I'm no longer alone. So stay tuned, stay close, and we'll be back in just a moment. Today is Tuesday, August 11th. The time is 8 p.m. in Toronto, 7 in Chicago, and 5 in Los Angeles. I'd like to thank the good folks here at Blog Talk Radio for allowing me to broadcast over their network, and I'd especially like to thank you, all of you who tune in to me each and every week. My guest this evening is Justin Hines, singer-songwriter whose newly released CD, Chasing Silver, in my opinion, has more hit songs on it than I can count on one hand. From a very early age, it said that Justin was enthralled with music. At the tender age of 14, Justin won a radio contest against hundreds of participants and had the privilege of singing the Canadian National Anthem at a Toronto Raptors basketball game in front of 17,000 people. So please welcome the fearless Justin Hines to Mission Unstoppable Radio. Good evening, Justin, and welcome.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. And I'd just like to reach out to the chat room here and just say hi to the folks who are there right now.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. You know, Justin, I wanted to let you know that the very first time that I saw you was on television last New Year's Eve when you sang at the Clifton Hill New Year's party in Niagara Falls. And joining you on stage was Kim Mitchell and Roger Hodgson.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the DK guitar man who's in the chat room here was with me, and we both sat stunned watching you. And I remember we turned to one another and said, "Who is this guy?" And we sat there for a really long time waiting for them to say your name so that we could run upstairs and you know, get on the computer and find out who you were and what you're all about and where we could get your music.
Oh, cool.
You have this rare ability to hold an audience. It's a really special quality, and it has nothing to do with your disability and everything to do with charisma, your voice, your style. And I think what the French refer to is that je ne sais quoi. So what do you think it is? What do you think about you is so enticing, so special?
You know what? It's a good question, and I think if I was able to answer it, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I do. I'd probably lose whatever it is the heck that you're talking about. So I'm actually kind of glad that I can't necessarily identify it. I'm just kind of doing what I love to do and trying to do it with a smile. So I think that's kind of where I'm coming from.
I love that. I really do. You know, your CD, your new CD, the second one, Chasing Silver, was released on June the 2nd, 2009.
Yeah.
And the hit single Say What You Will became the #1 downloaded singer-songwriter track within 48 hours of releasing it online.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exciting. Very exciting.
I mean, were you guys like jumping up and down in your house and just going, oh my God, look at this? How exciting!
Yeah, you know what? The last few months especially, there's just been one sort of crazy thing after another, and it's just getting sort of hard to keep up and keep track, and it's just all very exciting. And certainly that was a pretty big milestone, and we're all very very proud. I think we're kind of learning to appreciate the little victories as much as sort of the big things as well. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a wild ride.
Wow. I'm going to play just a little bit of it, and I'm going to just precurse that with that it's not my favorite song on the CD, although it's a great song on the CD. But I will let you know what my favorite one is in just a few minutes. So everybody, you have to hang in there if you want to know what Frankie's favorite one is. Just a second. Let's see. Say What You Will.
life would be more than okay. All the time I spent with you, like a dream come true. And if this was the last goodbye, no more tears to dry, I would say it one more time. It's been more than fine. But how could I've known? And how could I've shown? Well, say what you will before it's too late. Say what you will. Say what you will before it's too late. Just say what you will.
Justin, where did that song come from?
You know, that was actually the only co-write for me on the album, and it's one of those, you know, songs that I think everybody's just trying to keep it simple. I think it's one of those kind of universal things that, you know, it's such a meaningful thing to look at somebody that you love, or even just a complete stranger, and, you know, express how you feel about them and how you care about them. Again, pretty simple, but it's something that, you know, when I sing on stage, I know that everybody sort of listening can grasp the meaning. So I think it's for us, it's kind of an important song in that way.
It definitely is. You said that this album differs from sides, and that you made a conscious effort to abandon any trends on I guess that was on sides, and you just wanted to do something that was really honest. Mm-hmm. So that's what you said about sides. So how does this differ then?
You know, I think this time around, I think we all just kind of looked at it as the next chapter. I mean, we didn't really want to stray from what was going on in the first album too much, but at the same time, you know, sometimes it's important to step into to things, and I think, you know, for me personally, it was kind of a great exercise, you know, playing around with a few new sounds and just you know, filling some songs out a little more and just kind of getting comfortable with that and not being afraid of it. So that was kind of a fun challenge.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So would you say that you're a great observer? Are you the chatterbox in the room, or the guy who sits silently in the corner? Because I have a question here in the chat room. Like, where do you draw your inspiration for songwriting from?
Well, those are two actually very kind of different and good questions. I think generally I pick my moments to say, you know, certain things. I'm you know, tend to be sort of quiet for a while, and when the time is right, you know, and if I feel sort of confident what I'm saying, then I'll go ahead. But in terms of songwriting, I think if we're all sort of really paying attention, this just doesn't apply to songwriting, but if we're all sort of paying attention, I mean, life is never short of things to be inspired about, you know, both, you know, good and bad, really. There's just always something that, you know, can move us or challenge us or bring us joy or whatever. And I know certainly in my life, I've just never been short of things to write about. And even if the experiences aren't necessarily my own, if it's somebody around me that's been through something interesting, it's sometimes fun to, you know, put yourself and try at least any way to put yourself in their shoes and write something from their perspective. And I do that quite often. And it's good because it helps me sort of develop empathy, you know, and you know, try to picture what it's like to be somebody else for a change.
So it's the guy from the wheelchair. I love it. You know, you got to love that. And I think it is what probably makes you special is that you can see past your own, your own circumstances.
Well,
and I think that empathy does come through. It really does come through with your lyrics.
Well, thank you very much.
What comes first, the lyrics, the melody? How does it work in your head?
It kind of depends actually on each song. I think each song has its own history and story behind it, and I can't really say that I have a specific method of writing a song. I mean, I could have a lyric or melody or both kind of going around my head at the same time. And the only thing I usually do consistently is kind of wait for a while, but before I start playing it on the piano, I usually like to leave it sort of in my head for a while and just kind of play with it there for a bit. And I find that the things that are, worth remembering are usually around for quite a while. So I don't always write down every sort of passing thought, and I like to kind of let it brew for a little bit.
So like something somebody says, a phrase or something, we'll just go, oh, wow, that's really cool. That should be in a song. And
yeah, absolutely, actually. That happens quite often where somebody will just unknowingly say something really profound or just really simple that, seems to me would be a good sort of concept for a song. That actually happens a lot.
Oh, that's a really good question. How many songs have you written to date?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I started really getting
to the chat room.
Nice one. I started really getting serious about writing. I think when I was about, maybe 16 or 17, I started to write songs kind of frequently, and I'm 27 now, so it's tough to say. I mean, I have so many ideas that aren't necessarily complete. Like I'll have sort of half of a song, or but definitely probably a couple hundred. I would say somewhere in there.
Wow.
Tough to say.
Wow, a couple hundred. Now,
like
your dad plays guitar, and
your
mom sings.
Yeah.
Is that any other siblings?
I have an older brother,
Mm-hmm.
and he's married with 2 kids, 2 beautiful kids. My lovely niece and nephew. Yeah.
Musical?
My brother, not so much. He sort of got more into the like the human resource side of my dad's business. So he was more sort of that kind of guy. He's very philosophical in his own way, but never really got into the whole artistic thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you originally started singing when you were a child because your mom was worried about your breathing, having.
Yeah, it was kind of a twofold thing where I was clearly showing a lot of interest in music, but at the same time I sort of had this breathing condition happening. So I think she figured it'd be a good way to nurture both and to maybe help and stimulate both. And it was a very good call, actually.
Yeah, it was a good call. Good on Mom.
Yeah, she had great instincts for me when I was a little kid, so I'm really grateful for that, actually. And definitely putting me in voice lessons early was a really good idea.
So you do play piano, and I think you play it with, 7 fingers?
Yeah, I have all 10 of my fingers, but I really only have the use of 7 effectively in terms of playing keyboard. So, yeah, that's how I write.
Wow. I have to laugh at this one. Okay. How about butterflies in stage fright? This is coming from the chat room. Did you ever have butterflies in stage fright? I mean, listen, this guy's singing in front of 17,000 people. You don't have butterflies in stage fright, do you?
That would be my answer, actually. If I did have any at that point, that was a really good way to alleviate them because everything else in comparison to that seemed not quite as daunting.
Well, so I have to ask you about the Red Tomato Hat song because that is just hilarious, and you were so precocious in that. And how old were you in that video?
I think I was about 14 actually in that video. So 13 years ago. Yeah, it still gets airplay. Yeah.
Yeah, so go to YouTube and check out the Red Tomato Hat song, guys, because it is so funny. It's a great little rap song for him.
Well, we all have.
Do you remember any of the lines? Do you remember any of the lines from it?
I remember the chorus is pretty infectious. It's like, hey pal, look at that. Everybody loves my tomato hat. That's kind of the only part I remember. But yeah, good times.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Thanks.
That was pretty cool.
Well, you know what? A lot of kids got a lot of enjoyment out of that video. I mean, for a couple of years there, when we'd first done it, I would get followed by little kids actually in the mall. They were kind of a little bit mesmerized, and they kept. I got the question a lot, where the hat is, like who's got the hat. And,
Where'd the hat come from?
I think from the Toronto Raptor thing, I started to get sort of calls asking if I would do certain things, and that opportunity came up, and the gentleman actually that wrote the song happened to have an actual tomato hat. I think it was actually a strawberry hat that they tried to pass off as a tomato hat. But,
okay.
And so
funny.
that's what happened.
So you went traveling around the world. When was that? In 2000 and what?
Last year we were in China and across the States, and then the year before that we were in Dubai in the UK, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somewhere. And
you went to South Africa. So what of all the places that you went to, what was your favorite?
It's kind of tough to say because they all kind of provided
have their own
different
charm.
experiences. China was interesting in the sense because it was like the Olympics when we went, and it was just a very interesting environment there. I mean, it seemed like the whole world was focusing in on this area, and it was really, I mean, it couldn't sort of top the atmosphere, and we were there for 3 weeks, so we had a lot of time to check things out and get familiar with the people and some of the sites, and it was wild. It was really wild.
Yeah. And people's response to you around the world, how has it been? Like, are people in some areas more curious, kinder, meaner? What do you find in response?
Thankfully, I haven't actually experienced the mean yet. I mean, I heard that in China, there may be some, people that may not sort of be as accepting of it, as other parts of the globe. But I really didn't get to experience that. There was a lot of curiosity and a lot of questions and a lot of thumbs up. And during shows, it was interesting because I really like lyrics. Like, I really love listening to lyrics.
Yeah.
And songs, and I try really hard to sort of put together meaningful lyrics. But in a place like China or even Dubai, like, I didn't really have that luxury of connecting with people in that way, so I had to kind of do it through the performance itself, which was
because
really
of language,
challenge.
you mean?
Yeah, exactly, because of the language barrier.
Okay.
So it was a really interesting challenge in that sense, but a lot of fun. It was a new thing, and I think it speaks to the power of music in general when somebody from across the globe can come into your country and entertain you and hopefully inspire and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Just the melodies alone inspire them. You got great melody.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's like there was a lot of international artists part of the tour, and a lot of them had the same sort of challenge. They had to channel their art form, in a very unique way, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You made a comment. You live your life incorporating the beauty and the imperfections. Mm-hmm. I think that was the basis for one of your songs. Was that for Chasing Silver? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Chasing Silver is kind of the declaration of my faith in a lot of ways, which I guess is sort of a moving target for everybody. I guess our views change all the time. And for me, I just know that, at the end of the day, we're all kind of the same. Like, we all have our baggage. It just comes in sort of different forms. And mine is just everybody's to see. Like, everybody can see. So what I'm dealing with, and other people, it's not so obvious, but it's there. And, I think that's kind of that's certainly my outlook in life, and it helps me sort of, at least try to understand people and not be sort of judgmental and, try to embrace what sometimes others may not. So, yeah.
Well, I've got Chasing Silver here with the African remix because I just love, having those guys sing on there. What was the name of the band again? It was a really great name.
Yeah, All Things Are Possible is the name.
All Things Are Possible.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Okay, we're going to hear this this song, Chasing Silver, with...
Silver when I know I catch gold. Chasing silver when I know I catch gold. I know I catch gold. Hello, my old companion, it's been a while. And when I think of you, I can't help but smile. 'Cause I'm a lover in time, running down a dream. My heart growing wild, looking forward to you. Well, I wait until moonlight to call your name. For the beauty in sight is the sweetest thing. And all I am, and all I'll be, fulfilling the wish only you can see. Chasing silver when I know I catch gold. I know I catch gold. And the smile of a young one from their father's name reminds me of love and what it means to me. 'Cause I've lived my days through your perfect eyes. Now I feel every blessing right before my cries. Chasing silver when I know I catch gold. I'm chasing silver when I know I'll catch gold.
So all things are possible.
Yeah.
And you're living proof of that. How did you meet these guys?
Well, very cool story. My manager, actually, Mr. Aubrey Winfield, he was working with this lady in South Africa, and still is working with her. Her name is Bronwyn Nell. And Aubrey and her, they sort of had this idea of having this sort of presence, this South African presence on this song. The groove kind of lent itself to, that kind of style anyway. Mm-hmm. And she had just sort of come in contact with this group, with this amazing story, how they traveled, and this is not an exaggeration, 35 kilometers they walked to meet this lady, to work with her, and they come from sort of meager home life and stuff, and it was just, man, to hear sort of what they did over there.
What do you remember what city they're from?
Do you remember what city they're from? I don't actually remember.
Okay.
I don't, but I first heard a really rough cut of what they were doing, and we all sort of couldn't believe the new spiritual elements that they brought to the track, and it was pretty awesome.
It is really awesome. Wow. So does this help them with sustainability in their country? Does anything go back to them from the remix, or?
Yeah, well, I think because of this and other things that have happened, with their career after meeting this lady, they've
getting out.
Yeah, they've had the chance to perform at some pretty amazing shows and venues, and sounds like they're on their way. So that's pretty exciting to be a part of that with them.
Oh yeah, that's great. I know that you're all about helping people, so that's really great. We have a question here. Your most embarrassing moment on stage, and also your best stage moment.
Oh, cool.
Don't
Great
you hate
question.
those behavioral questions?
Really good question.
Yeah, they are.
The most embarrassing, you know what? I would have to say, this is one show, I just completely blanked on the song that we were doing, and I had no idea where I was, and I kind of stopped singing for an entire verse, and I didn't know what to do, really. And so I just kind of, I'm sure everybody could tell, but that was a really awkward feeling, because I feel like, well, these are my own tunes. I should probably know what I'm singing. I say,
but you're not alone in that. You're not alone.
I'm pretty sure that's. I haven't had a lot too many embarrassing moments on stage yet, but I'm still young, and I'm sure that'll come someday when I least expect it. But that was a big one, an entire verse. That's pretty insane. And the greatest moment, or the most memorable moment, I think not to sort of get too sort of sentimental or sappy. I looked over at an audience member at a show one time, and I was singing "Say What You Will," and I think it was her mother that was with her, and she was in a wheelchair, and she clearly had something quite visible wrong with her, and her mom was just sort of weeping beside her while she was holding her, and it was, I don't know, just the sort of visual of that is stuck with me, and it kind of brings things into a little bit of perspective, and sort of how honored I am to kind of be in this position where you can have an effect on people in that way. And I don't know, I still don't quite know sort of how to feel about that. It's kind of a sort of surreal kind of feeling, but the visual of that girl, and I think it was her mom. Well, I don't think it'll leave me anytime soon.
Wow. I was hoping to have a musical show, and I had thought of a musical program, for later on in my life to bring to a theater, and so I put down the domain of the language of emotion, because I think music is the language of emotion.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I guess it affected her in maybe the right way, because sometimes we hold on to feelings that need to come out. Maybe your music did that for her. It's
very true, and it's sadly, I don't get to sort of meet, everybody that listens, and sometimes I wish I could, but to kind of know that, you're putting something out there that you would do anyway if nobody was listening, and to have sort of people react in that way, like I said, it's kind of a strange, surreal feeling. It's beautiful, and it's beautifully tragic, and it's all these things, and but like I said, most importantly, it's hopefully meaningful and surreal.
Yeah, I think so. And as far as blanking on stage, Don Henley in an interview said that he often blanks on stage.
Oh, really? Nice. That's good. I don't feel so bad now.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel so bad now. He does it all the time. Okay, we have a question here. In the interview, you said that you have used Larsens Syndrome as a tool. How so? How so?
Well, I think in the profession and the business I'm in, everybody's kind of looking for that thing that makes them, stand out. And the beauty is, I don't really have to try that hard. I mean, it's kind of built in, like there's no amount of computer graphics or makeup or special effects that can sort of get rid of, this thing. And I think it's cool because it kind of makes people, look our way a little bit. And then it's kind of my job at that point to keep people's attention. But I certainly have something that, will make people at least look over, and that's a great thing. So put whatever label you want on that. But for me, at the end of the day, if people can get something good out of something, then there's no harm in that. So
well, I said at the beginning of the show, that you specialize in the impossible, and I think it's really important for people who can do that to champion those who are maybe sitting home feeling sorry for themselves.
Right.
I remember when I was in a rehab hospital after my accident, and literally somebody was crying because they broke a fingernail, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Please. Like, there's way more, things happening to people than breaking a finger. But to them, it was like extremely important. And I mean, there's relative. Yeah, things are relative, but you did say that you wouldn't change your situation for anything in the world.
Yeah. I mean that, actually. I wouldn't. The reality is I don't know any different than what I know. I mean, I've been in my situation since birth. So anything I've had to do, it's just me navigating through life. Like, I don't necessarily see it as adversity, per se. It's just what I know. And I think in a twisted way, my situation has brought me a lot of the things that, I would sort of hope for in life. So, how can I be too down on it? And, I think there's this kind of goal with a lot of people to fit in or be normal. And, I don't know, like...
What's normal?
Exactly. Well, what is normal?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe someday there'll be a plethora of, disabled singers out there in the market and doing their thing. I mean, that'll be normal at some point, maybe, So it's like, it's like you said, it's just kind of all relative, and it's brought me a lot of great things.
I have a friend who I've dubbed him the autism whisperer, and he works. He also has Asperger's, but he's written just so many books on autism and God and the autism connection and things like that. And he says that these children are here to help us find love, because the two things that they say are always never presume intelligence and I love you.
Yeah.
And you have a very romantic view of life, because you said that love is one of the few things in life that has no boundaries, and that you try to love everyone that you come in contact with, find what's good and cool in them.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a great thing to say.
It's, I think, as humans, we only know what we know based on our situations, our upbringing, and how our life's unfolded, and sometimes it's hard, to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, but it's sometimes, in my opinion, the effort of at least trying, and having compassion and empathy first rather than sort of judgment, and knowing that the world doesn't revolve on our understanding, basically our own understanding. Life is kind of it's a bigger thing, and there's so many people in this world that have had so many unique journeys, and who are we to A, criticize, or B, even think we kind of understand, So
I kind of think that our bodies are just our cars that we get to drive around in while we're here, because it's really not who we are. Our story.
I agree, actually. I totally agree. There's so many variables that make up our stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm really glad to see that, some of the stuff doesn't bother you. There was some pretty derogatory comments from one person on YouTube towards you. Do you read those things? Do you ignore them? You have a whole bunch of people who fight that battle for you, so I don't think you have to do it yourself. But Does that hurt you? Do those things get you? Or
I think the people around me probably read more of that stuff than I actually do personally. I remember when things were first starting to kind of roll, and I was getting a little bit more attention than I had been, and I sort of first saw one of those kind of comments. It definitely took me back. Like, I can't sort of pretend that I'm Superman and I just deflect everything and nothing sort of bothers me. I don't want to sort of project that at all. And certainly at first, it just caught me off guard, and I didn't really know sort of how to feel about it. But in time, again, as things sort of progressed, I came to the conclusion that the people that write these things, it's nothing personal to me. Like, they don't necessarily know me personally, and anything they say, again, it's just sort of it represents where they've come from in life and their journey, and for whatever reason, they're, I don't want to say hurting, but they're going through.
They are hurting. I think they are hurting. They are. And
that's the kind of things they feel the need to say, and it's nothing I've done to them or said to them, and I remind myself of that, and in return try to have compassion, understanding, and also don't forget to reflect on all the wonderful things.
Well, I think every artist is going to be challenged by somebody's going to put you down for your song, for the way you sing, for the way you do this or do that. And you as an artist, you write this stuff. You write the music. You write the lyrics. You want to protect. That's your baby. You've given birth to. So you have to feel a little something. But when they attack you personally, like that's something different. Like that's just pure mean and silliness.
You know what's funny? Actually, I would find the personal stuff I think easier to deal with, because I said, like, there is kind of a disconnect. They don't know much about my sort of world, and they never met me. So I think, if I'm being honest, I would actually find the stuff about probably the music. I'd take that more to heart for whatever reason. That's just insecurity. Like,
well, that's your child.
Exactly.
That's your child.
I'm more protective of that for whatever reason. It's silly, but it's just the human condition, I guess.
We have a question. What kind of problems have you encountered in the music business because of your handicap, besides the obvious? So besides the obvious, maybe getting your wheelchaired somewhere, or, are there any other problems? I know that Aubrey, in the interview, they were talking about how they'd heard your music and he couldn't find out who you were and what you looked like. And then, there was that odd 45 seconds when they first kind of met you that they go, oh, my gosh. And then it was like, we don't care.
Well, for most people, sometimes that 45 seconds is a long time. It takes them a while to get over the fact that, I'm a little different, and there's definitely at times a lot more thought that needs to go into things, as it revolves around my career and stuff. And a lot of times it's great because you're sort of breaking new ground, and a lot of times, there's kind of a wall there, and you sort of have to figure out a way to get around it or climb above it. But, things are starting to get at the point now where, people are coming around, and there's so much more acceptance that, than I guess there has been. And it's a cool thing, because I think you just sort of persevere and just kind of do what you do, and you have enough sort of good people believing in it, things can kind of happen. And, there's challenges every day, but there's also, like those things I was talking about earlier, we're getting also a lot of attention that I probably wouldn't have got otherwise. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a wash in my view,
Well, everybody has to work with what they're given, to make them unique. And
totally.
So you've got this. What geez, that just went out of my head, and I was gonna. Oh, your lyrics. I was looking for your lyrics online, because you really are poetic. Are they anywhere? I think that you can get them. Maybe you have a charity. Can you get them if you buy?
Well, we did this campaign with Variety actually last year, where if you made, I think I can't remember the dollar amount, but if you made a dollar amount to the charity, you receive like this. Yeah, it was like you got it. You receive this this full PDF package thing, which contained like videos and lyrics and all kinds of really cool things. And so that was kind of our way of getting the stuff out there. And otherwise, we rely on people to start posting lyrics. They're in the CD booklets, and they're available on things like iTunes. And then from there, we sort of like the whole viral thing and the word of mouth to kind of spread.
Okay. Okay, because I bought your CD today offline or online. I guess it was the download CD. I didn't get any lyrics for that, but I would like to get them, even though you can kind of hear them, but it's hard. I'm going to play my favorite song.
Okay.
I get to play my favorite song right now, and I'm going to surprise all of you. And then I'm going to ask the rest of the questions that are in the chat room. Hold on. Here we go. It's called Courage Come Out to Play.
Dark tonight, gonna touch the starlight when I go. And if I know the feeling's right, then I found my place to go. Gonna face the dark tonight, gonna tell them I am on the rise. Love no longer out of sight, silver linings in my eyes. I said, courage, won't you come out to play? Won't you come out to play? I'm living it down again, I'm bringing it back someday. I said, courage, won't you come out to play? Won't you come out to play? I'm living it down again. I'm gonna need to call your friend. So here's the hope, and I find you along the way. Gonna ride alone tonight, gonna save the demons in my way. Now I know the feeling's right, the cause of freedom is to stay. Gonna ride alone tonight, they will know the battle's all been won. Faith no longer out of sight, my heart pointing to the sun. Yes, there's courage, won't you come out to play? Come out to play. I'm living it down again, I'm bringing it back someday. There's courage, won't you come out to play? Come out to play. I'm living it down again, I'm gonna need to call your friend. So here's the hope, and I find you along the way. Yeah.
Okay, Justin. Where did that song come from?
I think we all have those moments where, I think we just kind of get to the point where we just want to kind of rise above and just sort of, face the wind and just kind of go for it. And, I guess I was just having one of those moments, with my world.
Come on. Was there something significant about to happen, something that you wanted to do, or?
There was so much change going around in my world that time. I wrote that song about maybe a year and a half ago, and there was just so much going on in the world, personal changes and business changes, and, it just kind of felt like everything was shifting on me, and I just kind of wanted the grace and the courage to kind of go for it, and just was feeling, just trying to reclaim that feeling of, being empowered, and that was kind of the mindset I was in when I was writing that one. Kind of different from me, actually.
That's a beautiful song. It really is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The favorite song from DK Guitar Man in the chat room here is April on the Ground. And I didn't upload that one, sorry. I can't play that for you guys. You're going to have to buy that CD if you want to hear that song. But I did upload another one that we can play near the end. Yeah. So another question here is, what are your musical goals now?
I think early on in my career, I think I sort of had more clear goals and things I wanted to accomplish. Like I sort of, was maybe I guess deep down hoping to get a record deal and do that whole thing, and the kind of dream that everybody sort of goes for. But as time's gone by, I think I just kind of want to keep going. I try not to be honest, to set my sights too far in the distance. I really want to appreciate what's kind of going on right now and be thankful for this, this pretty cool career that I have and my family and people I love, and it's just want to appreciate that. So to keep going would actually be just a beautiful thing. I think longevity is kind of a lost art nowadays. So if 20 years, I'm still doing interviews and still playing and still writing and making records, I'd be more than happy.
Yeah. Who are your heroes?
I have a lot of different heroes for a lot of different reasons. Musically is the easiest question to answer. I love singer-songwriters from, the 60s and 70s, guys like James Taylor and Jim Croce and, Carole King and all these great writers that were telling great stories. That one is easy. In terms of life, I'm meeting people all the time that, in their own way, have just, they're just doing wonderful things, and, some people may not see it on sort of a big scale, but to me, like, just sort of stepping into, the things you sort of fear the most, and I just meet people like that all the time, or they write me or whatever, and I don't know, like, those are my heroes. And, for instance, my mom is my hero because she was so awesome that, having the instincts and the love and the compassion to raise me to do what I love to do. I mean, and my dad for being that sort of support system and being a real grounding, sort of wise presence. And, I don't know. It's just so many different people for so many different reasons. And,
it really sounds like your parents were awesome, and I think it really does. Yeah. Environment makes a huge difference in how people, view the world. And I just am so grateful to my father for telling me that anything was possible. I could do anything and be anything I wanted to be in life. And I think when you come from that kind of a background and you believe it, then it's going to happen for you. And your parents didn't limit you at all.
Not at all. They were quite content for me to, sacrifice everything for music. And if that's what I wanted, they were more than happy to see that through for me. And not only that, but just, the amount of just resources they poured into it, and all different kinds of resources, financially, emotionally. It never ended, and I just felt completely supported in my journey. And that's a rare thing. So for people to sort of look at me and perhaps, feel maybe a sense of pity or whatever, it's hard for me to necessarily accept that because my journey has just been pretty awesome. Not without its challenges, but I've just had the support system to get through them. So it's a great thing.
How much older is your older brother?
He is like 4.5 years older than me, actually. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Did he ever feel left out?
It's a good question. I started when I was in grade 8. Actually, I all of a sudden started having like these thoughts about my brother. Like, wow, like here I am. I'm in a chair, so that's going to get me, a certain amount of attention, like we've talked about. So there's all that, and plus I'm doing this music thing, which, is even more attention. And, he's always just been a regular, stable, kind of normal kid. And I always wondered, like, how that would have affected him. And, we fought like any other siblings did, nothing more, nothing less than the other siblings. But, I never really felt that energy from her. I never really felt like, we had those kind of issues as a kid, and certainly not now. I mean, he's probably one of my, biggest supporters. And so, I guess you'd sort of have to ask him. I mean, he's certainly never, projected that on me, and has never had those kind of, comments or feelings towards me. And
right. Well, oftentimes, caregivers or siblings, and not to harp on this, but, you probably had lots of medical appointments and things that you had to go to. And so your parents, it was always Justin. And, I don't know your brother's name. And so maybe he had a hockey game or he had whatever, and maybe they couldn't always come because they had to look after. I have a sister like that. So, it was just, Yeah, I just wondered.
It worked out. My dad poured a lot of, time and energy. My brother was an avid golfer as a kid, and he certainly had his interests. And I think, my dad kind of, picked up some of the slack there. Where my mom was pretty focused on me a lot of the time, and we were going through there. So I think at the end of the day, for the most part, things kind of balanced out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Great question here.
Okay.
If you were not musically talented, what else would you be doing with your life?
Oh man, that's such a good question. I get asked that a lot. That is a tough one.
Oh, do you really? Wow, that's a great question.
What is? It's kind of funny because I actually genuinely, truly don't remember doing anything else. Even as a little kid, I was just obsessed with little 45 records and the radio, and I just don't remember sort of consciously being interested in anything else. I had sort of passing interests, like I liked sports for a while as a kid, and I think I remember going through like a year or two period where journalism sounded interesting, but it never lasted and never really sort of just never really stuck. Music was always the thing, and so it's a good question. I think I'm starting to get into speaking a little bit, like public speaking at certain things where I'm not necessarily performing, and that's been a lot of fun trying to sort of
like motivational, inspirational speaking, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not really like the most polished speaker in the world, but thankfully people just kind of let me do my thing. And
I think you're doing a great job.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it, though.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of something I could maybe see myself.
What about writing? Have you thought about writing a book?
Yeah, the ideas come up. At this point in my life, I still sort of have a lot of music to kind of get out in terms of my creative time. That gets most of it. And then when I'm not sort of creating, I'm out, doing awesome things like this and talking to people, and and I also sort of cherish the time I have, to myself, my wife, and my family, and that's kind of important to me as well. So I try to just try to keep everything sort of in balance, and when the time is right and maybe enough of my story has been told, maybe maybe a book would be in order, but we'll see.
Wow. You said that you talk about that we all have a purpose. And obviously yours is to sing. If you were to go out and inspire people, because I said this exact same thing in my book as you talk about, that we're only here for such a short time that we have to be happy, we have to do what we want to do. So what is your would you call yourself spiritual? Does it play a big part in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of life is about sort of blind faith in a lot of ways. I mean, I say we all have a purpose, and I really, truly believe we do, but we may not always sort of have the luxury of discovering what the heck it is. I think sometimes it's in things we don't know that we're doing that, affects people, and I think, if you can sort of have faith in that and trust that, it can be very comforting, and know that, probably most things are happening for a greater reason that's beyond our understanding. That's kind of my outlook, and that's very comforting because you don't feel bad for as many things, or you don't sort of sweat too many of the little details that kind of weigh us down, and it's still something I'm trying to learn actually, and so that's kind of my my outlook. I start from there and work my way out.
How did you meet your wife?
Well, I met my wife actually through music. She actually saw one of my my videos, and we conversed for quite a while, just sort of, casual chatting and talking on the phone, and then, before that, an email, and she decided to sort of come across the country to meet me, and the rest is kind of history.
Wow. What song did you write for her?
I think the influence of my wife will be sort of noticed more on the next record. I think the last two records, a lot of the songs were pretty much written before sort of my journey with her kind of evolved. So I think the next record will see way more of her influence.
On Troubador, I think you said that you kind of wrote that with your father in mind. And I read somewhere that people thought that was kind of your story. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of all those things. We were strolling down Toronto, the streets of Toronto one day, and I glanced over sort of across the street, across the intersection, and there was a gentleman who was playing the guitar on the corner. He was busking, I guess. I didn't see like a guitar case or a hat or anything like that. I just saw him playing his music, and I guess in my head I sort of built this story of, you know, where he's been, and he looked like an older sort of gentleman, looked like he'd seen a lot in his lifetime, but he was just completely lost in his music. And, you know, I remember my dad telling me lots of stories like that about people he'd met and even himself, and he's really into that style of finger picking that's on that song. And so I kind of combined those two elements with my dad's inspiration, as well as, you know, seeing this gentleman across the street. It just seemed like an appropriate thing to do. And you know, it just occurred to me that, wow, like, music can really just take people away, you know.
Yeah. Does he play? Does your dad play on your CDs?
He doesn't. We've done a couple of things together in public. He's never played on one of my records. We did one song together, one recording, but we never put on an album or anything. He's more of he's a quiet musician. Like, he likes playing for himself and some family and friends, but he never really got out there. I think he was always content just sort of playing for his own enjoyment, which I think is amazing. You know, it's great to, you know, be in the business and, you know, achieving all those things. But at the same time, I think it's really cool when people just simply play for their own enjoyment, and they really sort of don't have those desires to. I think that's really cool, and that's one thing I've always loved about my dad. He can get lost in it, and he's really, really great. Like, he's unbelievable, you know, folk guitarist. So I always found him very inspiring in that sense.
I'm going to play a little bit of Troubador here. Let's see how it goes.
Kindly put your coins away. Well, I'm not here for financial gain. 'Cause music sounds the sweetest to me when from the heart and played for free. It's the soul curve, it ain't so bad, and this guitar's the best friend I ever had. And I'd sure out to sing its truth. So would you lend an ear if I sang to you? Oh, if I sang to you. What I've seen and where I've been is written in the lines upon my skin. People stare, and then they go. And what they think of me, I think I know. It's the soul curve, it ain't so bad, and this guitar's the best friend I ever had. And I'd try to sing it true. So would you lend an ear if I sang to you? Oh, if I sang. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da.
You know, the comment in the chat room was that that they love the lyrics and you're a really great talent, and you are a really great talent.
Thank you.
And I said at the beginning that there's so many hits on this CD, and there are so many hits. I mean, every song is fantastic. Every song is great.
That's very sweet, Nikki.
Well, and I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that to flatter you. I'm really not. I'm saying that because I mean it, and coming from, you know, from the musician in me, I'm telling you that. How's that? We're going to see you live at Hughes Room next week, and we're really excited to do that.
Oh, great! That's awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
we're
really
going to
cool.
come down and meet you there, and I'm so looking forward to doing that. We both are. You want to see Justin Hines? Go to www.justinhines.com. That's his website, or MySpace/Justin Hines. You can find him there. Where else can we find you?
Well, I'm playing across Canada in the fall, and hopefully in the States as well in the new year, and you know, just keeping it going.
Is there anybody that you want to play with? I mean, now that Cat Stevens, aka Youssef, has come out and playing again, or James Taylor.
I mean, certainly James Taylor, I think, would be up there for me. I think he's the guy that I don't know. I just always sort of dreamed of playing music with someday, and certainly Cat Stevens as well. Two of my biggest influences, and they're still going and still making great music.
Have you reached out to him at all?
What's that, sorry?
Have you ever reached out to him?
Not yet. I think maybe when the time is right, we will. But I'm hoping our paths will cross one day. I mean, he's just one of those. I don't know, all those guys. They just wrote great music and just told great stories. So to be sort of a part of that someday would be awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. Do you play with the same musicians? Is there a Justin Hines band, or do you have studio musicians play with you?
Yeah, it's the same band that played on my record plays with me live as well. So we're like a little family now. We've been playing together for a few years, and it's been a lot of fun. And different configurations depending on the show and the gig, but we're all the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many guys are in that band?
There are 5 plus me, actually, at our biggest configuration.
You have the big band and the small band.
Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty much my guitarist, who also produced both my albums, Justin Abbott, and he's there on every show.
Right.
He's like my hands, because if I don't play guitar, but if I did, I'd sort of want to be able to play like him. He's like one of my guitar gurus. So
wow.
Yeah.
When's your next CD coming out? I mean, I know that we're just a month out of this one, but when are you planning?
It's funny you should mention that. We just started talking about doing another one today. Funny enough, we have a Christmas album coming out this year, and I think next summer we're targeting another album. So
another release.
That would be awesome. Yeah. So hopefully, late August or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Justin, I can only wish you the very best. And it looks like the very best is coming to you anyway. If you expect it, you get it. And you have this wonderful positive outlook in life, and you say that you're blessed, and I think you are. I think you are.
Well,
and that's a good thing, and you deserve it. And you deserve it, because I think when people, what they give out does, what goes around comes around. And
you as well. I mean, congrats on the amazing energy you're putting out there, and keeping it positive as well. I really appreciate and admire that as well. So.
Well, thank you so much. And like I said, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing you live next week. And he will be at Hughes Room if you are in Toronto or want to make the drive to Toronto. And, why not pick up some tickets and come down and see Justin and tell him that, you heard him on the show.
Yeah,
and you liked what you heard. Why not?
Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming, and especially on such short notice. It was really wonderful to have you here.
My pleasure.
Like I said, I'm really excited to hear you. And you've got such a great record company and people behind you. I just want to mention that Aubrey was wonderful, and the name of the company is Orange Records?
Yeah, the Orange Lounge Recording Company, yeah.
Orange
Lounge
Lounge
Recording
Recording
Company. I got to say, he's, if every artist had somebody like him representing them, they'd be really well. He's another one of my heroes, actually. Let's add him to the list.
Okay.
He's just been so good at just guiding my career and doing things in a really meaningful and up and up way, and I'm proud to be with the music family I'm with, so it's pretty awesome.
I said to Justin at the beginning of the show that he's one of the few Canadians that I've interviewed, and I'm really proud to be able to do that and to say that tonight that this Canadian was able to recognize another one. So good on you, good on me, and have yourself a wonderful evening.
You too.
And we'll see you
Thanks,
next
everybody.
week.
All right.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, it's Flo, and this is my impression of a drill instructor directing a musical. Town hut! Get those tap heels in line and let me see those jazz hands! Are you bundling your home and auto insurance through Progressive? Can you hear me through those sequins?
Bundle your home and auto through Progressive and save.
Left, and step ball change.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Home insurance provided and serviced by other select insurers.